Welcome back to another episode of The Summer of Me. I'm really excited to be here today and share this episode with you guys. I really try to bring like tangible meaning to some of the things I've gone through and also give you guys tangible tools to kind of figure out how to navigate some of this stuff in your life. I started this podcast and just sharing my whole journey because I really felt alone in this process. And so, I've talked a lot about this. I feel like I sort of disappeared in my own life. I never honestly even showed up in the beginning, if I'm being totally frank, because I was so young. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know who I was. I mean, imagine if you ended up with the person you met when you were 18. Like a lot of us shudder at the thought of that. And so one of the things that I really am passionate about is kind of helping women figure this out before it's too late, before they feel like they have to file for divorce or before they feel like they have to blow up their life or whatever. And so one of the things I want to talk about today is 5 signs that you've disappeared in your own life, and how to get back in. Ultimately, like the goal here is to give you guys enough value to figure out not only to identify or be aware of a problem, but also how to fix it. And while not everything is fixable, and sometimes maybe you're past that, maybe you are divorced, or maybe you're in a different relationship. I think that sometimes it's just helpful to know like, whoa, this is me. This resonates. Number one. And number two, like, how do I fix it? I get people asking me all the time in my DMs, like, what do I do? How did you do this? How long does this last? How do I navigate this? And while obviously I don't have almost any of the answers because I'm still very much in the thick of it, I feel like I have figured some things out along the way. And ultimately life is just an exercise in kind of watching the people that have come before you and following in different people's footsteps. I say this all the time on the podcast and on my social media, like we're all just walking each other home. It's a Ram Dass quote. And it's so true. Like we are all just holding each other's hands, helping each other navigate things. And that's the beauty of womanhood and community and just feeling like you are seen and people resonate with what's going on in your story and you feel validated because otherwise it's a really scary, dark, lonely place to be. So I think that ultimately a lot of times we don't realize that we've lost ourselves or that we've disappeared in our life until it's too late. And I want to give meaning to what that means, like when I say like disappearing in your own life. And I think it means that it's like, for me, at least, it meant that like I wasn't unhappy. I was just numb. Everything was neutral. I wasn't like, man, I'm fulfilled. I'm thriving. I'm doing all these things. But it also wasn't like, I'm miserable. I hate everybody. I'm drowning. I just was sort of like showing up every single day. And I knew deep down, I think this was the identifier for me. I knew deep down, like there was something inside of me that I ignored day after week, after month, after year, where it was like, there's more. Like there's more inside of you. There's not necessarily more out there. Everybody's like, what is this constant quest for more? Because like I had this in me, this deep desire to know, like, I want to achieve more. I want to have more purpose. I want to give more. I want to be more. I want to be louder, more creative, wilder, experience more things, feel like I've lived a bigger life. And I couldn't shake that feeling. And that's how I kind of knew that like, man, I wasn't living as that person. I was living as this shell of myself. And maybe you don't have that. Maybe, if you do, or if you're listening to this podcast, there's a high likelihood that you do. And I think that all of us probably have it to some degree, and we get really good at bearing it, especially as women who are cultured or conditioned to be the female of the house, to serve, to help people, to nurture all these things. Like we forget about ourselves in that. And so I'm going to just kind of talk about 5 ways that I really felt like I was disappearing in my life, or that I've seen other people do and experience with other people. I've walked a lot of people through some of these things just because I've been really open with my experience, and people tend to gravitate towards you when you're like that, when you're vulnerable. And so these are just things that I feel like I've seen recurring in other people and in myself. Number 1 is that you don't know what you want, but you know what everyone else needs. I was empathetic and loyal to a fault. I really was like, I know exactly how to make this person happy. I know exactly what to do in this situation. I know how to control this situation. I know how to be all of these things. I know what everybody else in my life needs. I have no idea what I need or want. I genuinely was like, and that was one of the clear indicators when people started asking me like, what do you want? Or what, who are you? Or what do you like to do? Like, I don't know. I can answer that for everybody else. I could tell you every single thing there was to ever know about my ex-husband, whether it was what he likes to do, who he likes to be with, how he likes his salad, what he likes to eat here, what shoes he wants for like everything, and small or big, like emotional or just like small little tangible things. I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. If I asked you for what your goals are for the next year, would you be able to answer? or would you freeze? But if I asked you your kids' schedules, what's your partner's preferences, the stress level of your boss or your mom, or the needs of this person, you probably could recite it like scripture, because ultimately like that is what you're paying attention to. You have displaced your identity. Your identity is now found in all of these other people because it's too painful, too vulnerable, or too just uncomfortable to figure out what it is within yourself. When you spend so long managing everyone else's lives, your desire muscle atrophies. Desire takes practice. It is a muscle and we must use it. We must desire things and be okay with that and accept the reality that we have needs and wants and desires, versus feeling like none of that matters. I'm going to displace my identity in all these other things and other people because that's a way more comfortable place for me to exist. So here is the fix for this, okay? Each of these are going to have a fix that I've kind of tried to see if you can draw up. And again, this takes practice and time. And so I encourage you to write these things down and practice them. Like just like you would practice lines for a play, or just like you would, practice different dance moves or whatever. A dancer, I am not. So there's no dance moves I will be practicing, but I will be asking myself this. What do I want right now? Okay. Not what's practical, not what's good for the kids or the family, not what's convenient, not what will keep the peace, but what do I want right now? That's going to be a really hard question if you haven't asked yourself that in a long time. It's going to feel really selfish. You're going to feel like, that's not realistic. That's not a necessity. What do I want? Desire is a muscle and you have to build it. So start asking yourself that question in all these little different scenarios. Where do you want to eat tonight? Where do you want to spend your Saturday? What do you want to wear today? What do you want to cook for dinner? How do you want to schedule your workday on, like all of these different things where you maybe are catering your setup to everybody else's lives and everybody else's convenience. What do you want? Number 2 is you perform the version of yourself people expect. Okay. This is a tough one. And this is probably one of the biggest like aha moments that I had. I was the good girl. Deep down, I wasn't. I wanted to be a little freaky hoe, but I was the good girl. I was the child who was easy. I was, good grades, didn't drink, didn't sneak around. I just was the productive, consistent, reliable, good girl. And I carried that all the way through my marriage. I married the good guy. I married the guy who's so sweet and so nice. And I really can't sit here and be like, oh, he's a monster. Not like, absolutely wasn't. I married the one that on paper checked all the boxes, was the athlete, had the income, was older, had his life figured, all of these things that I thought that's going to maintain who I am. And I performed for that, like that version of that girl for a really long time until I didn't. And then the pendulum swung. And we've talked about this before. I had a hoe phase. I had a like off the deep end phase where I was like, I'm not answering my phone. I'm fucking doing whatever the fuck I want, when I want, how I want. And I look back at that and I'm like, I needed that. You hear people say, she had to sow her wild oats, like in, when you're 20 or whatever. Oh, go sow your wild oats, go live, go do the things. You got to get that out of your system. I don't care if you're 18, if you're 25, if you're fucking 32, like you got to get that out of your system, because ultimately like you have to figure out through that process, who am I? Maybe you go out of that process and you're like, nah, I actually am the good girl. Like I'm just going to do my good girl shit. Like, okay, great. That was not who I identified as, but I put on this performance in this play like I was this person. And if you're doing that in your life and you're constantly trying to perform as somebody that you want to be received and seen as, that doesn't end. That is an uphill battle. There is no end in sight for that. Maybe it's you're the funny one or the stable one, the strong one, the cool girl, the chill one. Like, trust me, been there too. Like I'm not the cool girl anymore. And I'm not the cool girl in like a dating relationship. You always want to be like, oh, I'm chill, whatever. Nah, dog, I'm not chill. The productive one, the one who never needs help. This was a big one for me. I never wanted to take people's help. It was so uncomfortable for me to have needs that like even somebody being like, oh, let me take your kids while you go to no, I'm good. I don't need help. These are roles, and the basically like they're costumes that we put on ourselves. And until you come to face with that and realize this is not actually who I am, and you do the work to kind of unclothe and take that costume off, you're going to be exhausted putting up as this person. A lot of women don't lose themselves necessarily. They just get trapped in these different costumes and these different versions of themselves who they feel like they need to be. So here's your fix for this one. And I love this. I really tried to embody this as I was going through the summer of me. And sometimes it's like shocking to people. And sometimes it's like just very uncomfortable as yourself, because you've you've been playing this role for a very long time. Do one thing this week that contradicts your assigned role that you've given yourself or that other people have given you. So for me, I was like, I'm the good girl. I always answer my phone. I'm reliable. Like, no, say no, ask for help, be honest, be a little bit messy, break the character. I remember for me, I smoked a cigarette. I was like, my mom used to be like, I would disown you guys if you ever did a drug, like blah, blah, blah. I smoked a cigarette. I liked it. I kissed a girl and I liked it. And I genuinely, it was like that moment where I was like, I know like most people watching will be like, that's not that bad. Like it's not like you're, doing acid on the weekend. But like for me, that was like, I needed to contradict this good girl. I do nothing wrong. I don't, and like I went through a phase where I drank more than like, I definitely should have. And more than I ever had for that matter. Like I remember being like, I think I was 25 before I like even ever got drunk. Maybe older. I don't know. I wasn't growing up like going to the bars, all that kind of stuff. Like I was the good girl. Like I'm not interested in that stuff. Nah, I was interested. I just like to pretend I wasn't because that maintained the role that I wanted to play. So go do something that disrupts the role and reclaim the piece of you that you really are. Like if there's something in your head, you're like, I just really want to do that. But people would be like, do it. Smoke the cigarette. Honestly, one cigarette is not going to kill you. Dare existed. I think it was a fraud. Number 3 is you feel numb or fine. How many times have you been like, I'm fine, it's fine, I'm numb? I think this is a really great thing to pay attention to in your life. If you are, I'm so emotional at this point because I have allowed myself to feel the things up, the down, like all of it. For so many years, I didn't cry, I was stable, I was fine. I was numb to everything around me and I masked that. I was just basically in a fog of productivity, of parenting, of motherhood, of kids, of work, like all these things that I knew were reliable and controllable, right? I was not overwhelmed, but I was not necessarily like thriving either. Like I just was kind of in this like middle ground state and nobody wants to live a lukewarm life, you guys. That is not the way to do it. I promise you, the highs and lows are so much more valuable than living this like median lifestyle. And so if you are feeling like that and you're like, nothing really like excites me that much, everything feels like I'm just Groundhog's Day, I'm doing the same thing over and over. And maybe you're using things as distractions. You're scrolling, you're dating, you're overworking, like all these things. You have basically taught your body, like I ignored my body's needs for so long that I taught my body to stop sending signals. I was just like, we're just going to exist here in this middle ground. Okay. And so I was emotionless. I like, if you've ever been on an antidepressant, that's how I felt for 10 years. Like I wasn't on an antidepressant, but I genuinely just felt numb. And when I allowed myself to actually like turn up the volume on how I actually felt, man, it was a tidal wave of like feelings. I actually like was depressed for a while. Like I was like in a dark place. And then I've been in like a really high place. And I know it makes me sound like I'm this like emotional basket case, but like, man, that is how life is designed, ups and downs and feelings and good and bad. And we like are created to feel all of those things, not to just like numbly walk through life as this just activated character of a human. And so here's the fix for this one. Instead of asking, how do I feel? Ask yourself, what is my body telling me? There's so many times where we ignore signals from our body, whether it's your stomach is upset or your chest feels tight or you have a headache, or what is your body telling you? Do you have tension, exhaustion? Do you feel jittery? I know for me, like if I feel like something is off, like my veins feel like they're pulsing. Like I feel like I have little like bugs like tingling through my body because I'm clued in. I'm aware that like something is off. Like my spidey senses are tingling. And so those are your feelings that never really get like language. And so it's your job to give life to them. So instead of asking myself how I feel, asking myself, what is my body telling me? Time to get clued into your body. Number 4 is that you've outsourced your self-worth. We've talked about this in previous episodes. This is a sneaky one because it really feels like, oh, I love being a mom and I blah, 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 all these things. When your worth is coming from attention, productivity, how needed you are by other people. Oh, this was like a turn on for me. If somebody really needed me, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm valuable. How much you do for others, being chosen by people, how well you keep everything running. When people would be like, I don't know how you do it all. I'd be like, brush my shoulders off. I don't either. I'm just a fucking maniac. No, actually, I'm clinically like in a very dark place. Somebody rescue me. You have basically left your life and you're living in other people's like pending approval. So one of the exercises that really woke this up in me, I had a therapist ask me this. She's like, I want you to write a list about all the things you love about yourself. So I wrote the list. And the list was like, I'm a great mom. I work really hard. I have a team of women that like, I love all these things about myself. And she's like, that's all the things you do for other people. Those are all things that like you find value in and you see your worth in and you like about yourself because you give to other people. You're a good daughter. You're a good sister. You're a good mother, like whatever. What do you love about yourself? So she's like, go back to the drawing board and come back next session. So I went back to the drawing board. I actually have my list on my bulletin board behind me because I think this is a really powerful exercise. I kept this on my phone background for a really long time because ultimately we don't know the things that we love about ourselves unless we take the time to pay attention to them. And you outsource your self-worth instead of understanding like, you are the worth, baby girl. You are the prize. So here's my list. I am creative. I am thoughtful. I'm empathetic. I'm funny. I'm loyal. I'm positive. I'm optimistic. I'm driven. I work hard. I can have a good time anywhere. I'm peaceful. I'm cozy. I'm a good cook. I love to celebrate with people. I'm willing to have deep conversations. I'm self-aware. I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm forgiving. I'm bright and joyful. I love really hard. I have a big heart and I'm inspiring to other women. Those are the things I love about myself. We live in a culture where people shame you for loving things about themselves. I can't tell you how many DMs I get. Like, you're obsessed with yourself. You think you're so pretty. You talk about yourself too much. Yeah, I fucking do love myself. What would you like for me to do? Hate myself? Beat myself up? Oh, by the way, I have 4 daughters. They get to then replicate that and let's keep the cycle going. Let's all hate ourselves. You know what? Like, yeah, no, absolutely not. Go fucking love yourself. That is a rarity. That right there is magnetism. When you can love yourself and tell people the things that you love about yourself, tell yourself, not even other people, tell yourself the things you love about yourself. What a powerful exercise in being able to go out and be a bold contribution to society. Like, how powerful is that when you know what you love about yourself and you can act in those ways? I can act creatively. I know that I have a big heart, so I'm going to go love people really big. I'm going to go, I know that I'm cozy. I'm going to create a cozy home to bring people into. All of these things are gifts that I have been given in my life. Why would I not tap into them? Why would I not be aware of them, use them, embody them? Like, this is an underrated skill. So that is the fix for this. Ask yourself this: what would I be if I stopped trying to impress or accommodate anybody for 24 hours? Most women panic at the thought of this. Like, I have to be everything to everybody. 24 hours, like, that's a fucking lifetime in motherhood, like, where I'm just not going to be available, or I'm going to be untapped, or I'm going to stop trying to accommodate everybody. There's some men out there, believe it or not, that are like, honey, you deserve a break. Go to a hotel for 12 hours, 24 hours, and like, take a break. I have friends whose husbands will be like, yeah, I got the house, I got the kids. Go turn on Do Not Disturb, have yourself a bath, and like, live your best life for 24 hours. If you don't have a spouse at home doing that, that's okay. You get to treat yourself. You get to do those things. Ask yourself, what would I be? Who would I be in those 24 hours if I didn't have to impress or accommodate people? And the other fix for this is go make this list. Print it out. Put it on your mirror. Put it on your phone background. Get comfortable loving yourself and finding worth within yourself. And the last one is that your life runs, but you don't, okay? If you have a well-oiled machine, your routines for your family are working, yourself are working even, your kids are fed, the house is functioning, everything gets done, but you are still missing, this is a really good hallmark of like the fact that you kind of disappeared in your life. You have created this whole system around you, and yet your system is just non-existent in the middle. Basically, you're in the driver's seat. Your goal is just to make sure nobody dies. And there's not a lot of room left for you at the end of the day if you're doing all these things for other people. So I think the fix here, and this is a quick and dirty one, but like, the fix is just a non-negotiable anchor every day. So figuring out what is one thing I can do for myself that's going to anchor me as the main character in my life. So maybe that is, my non-negotiable, I'll tell you guys mine. I work out 6 days a week. I am not going to skip a workout, not because I want to be a fucking bodybuilder, but because it makes me feel grounded. It gives me joy. It makes me feel like I'm doing something for myself. I'm taking care of the body that I've been given. I am being responsible with, the ways that I'm showing my kids to treat your body. I love working out every single day. It gives me a sense of me, okay? Maybe it's 10 minutes in your room. Maybe it's drinking your coffee in silence in the morning. Find something that anchors you, that you get to do for yourself every day, because all these other systems are already running. What is your system? What is, like, when you start your computer and it's Mac OS, Giraffe, Safari, Windows, God knows what at this point. What is your system that you are running? Because everybody else's systems are fully functioning. You have dialed that computer network in. Now it's time to dial yours in. What is one thing that you can start that with? Maybe it's only 10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be productive. It doesn't have to look great to other people. It has to feel positive for you. Brings you back into your body and into your life. So the moral of the story of this episode is this: you do not disappear like in your own life by, jumping in a car and driving off and people are like, what happened to that bitch? She's gone. You disappear in all these moments that you actually don't see, other people don't see. It's one small thing at a time. Just like we've talked about, drip by drip, it's a small erosion. And I think that, again, awareness is really important in some of these situations. And so if you're still in a relationship, if you are single, if all of these things are relevant, no matter what stage of your life you're in, you can reclaim yourself the same way you lost yourself, one single choice at a time. I really encourage you, prioritize these, make sure you took notes on this episode, do some of these things and start paying attention to how you come back online. Start paying attention to how your life starts to kind of come back into your own hands and you are the main character. Take the costume off and be exactly who you are. Follow that gut instinct and chase that person. You will be so much more fulfilled living that way. Thanks for listening to The Summer of Me. You can listen to episodes on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube. Come hang out and follow my chaos on Instagram @KendraForNow. See you next time.